Hello everybody and welcome back to the Miser's Guide to Evony. In this brand new series I have a special treat for you, and that is a leveling guide from Keep 1 to we'll see how far it goes. It's going to start off pretty slow because I'm going to do it basically keep by keep level, with the exception of this one, which is bundled from Keep 1 all the way to Keep 5. But generally they are going to go keep level by keep level, and you're going to see the growth, and you are going to get an understanding of what's required for future keep levels, so that if you are at a certain place in the game, you know what's coming next, you know what's involved for this keep level and some of the things that you should be focusing on. Now, please keep in mind that if you have not seen the disclaimer video and you've not taken a look at the introduction to this series, that this is not the only way to level. This is not even necessarily the best one for you if you don't meet the same kind of criteria. So in this case, this account is in an active alliance that has bosses going on and so on, and it's not solo play, and it's definitely what I recommend, but if that's not your case, you shouldn't be doing it. And you'll see that there are no troops being built, and it's a very different kind of play. It's very effective and it works very well, but you really need to consider whether it's right for you. But at the very least, this series will provide a way for you to see what is happening next in terms of keep level and some of the things that you should be focusing on, and just some general commentary I have for those keep levels. So let's get started here. For this video, we're talking about Keep 2 to Keep 5, and you can see there's a video playing in the background. It's a little bit sped up so that it does go through quicker. But in these videos, I'm going to have a general structure. I'm going to talk about the required buildings and resource costs for the important buildings, like the requirements for your keep is what I'm going to talk about. I'm also going to pay some homage to the unlocks for that keep level. So things like buildings that are now available to you, or certain features that are now available to you at that keep level. I'm also going to have a section where we're thinking ahead. Future keep levels, what is coming up in terms of research requirements, building requirements that you might want to pay attention to so that you're not hitting a roadblock where you could have actually been preparing. And lastly, I'll also have some general commentary as we go through, just of things that I recommend if you're in the similar kind of boat and you want to do it in a very effective way. So take what you want out of these videos, leave what you don't want. It's really up to you. This is just an archetype, which is what the account is named as, for you to model after if you so choose. All right, so let's get started here talking about some of the building requirements. So when you're starting off your keep level 1, and the only thing you really need to do there is worry about leveling up to keep 2. Very easy thing. There are no prerequisites. You don't have to build any extra buildings. Everything is level 1 that you can already do for the most part. So you just build your keep number 2. The cost of it is 3,450 wood and food. That's it. And since there are no prerequisites, you'll see that on my graphic to the right on your screen there are 2 sections. There's the one for just the cost of the keep, and then below that there's the cost of the keep plus the cost of the prerequisites. Since there are no prerequisites, it's just really the cost of the keep. So let's move on to keep 3. In this video, I think keep 3 is already built at this point, but the requirements for keep 3 were to upgrade walls 2. And of course, you have to have a previous level keep, so you have to have keep 2 to do keep 3. That's just given. But you'll also need walls 2. And the walls is pretty much a constant requirement. You always need the previous level walls to get that next keep level. So if you're trying to get keep 30, then you also need walls 29 to already be built. It can't have fallen behind, or it won't let you build the next one. So the walls will always be a requirement. The requirements in terms of resources for keep 3 were about 4,500 wood and food. Again, those are the only 2 resources other than gold, which doesn't really count so much, that are available to you at the beginning. So 4,500, but you also had to build the walls. So in the lower section there, you'll see that there is the requirement of about 7,300 of each of those two resource types. It doesn't matter so much. Like, these numbers aren't that significant right now because you're going to have an excess of everything because you're starting off and they want you to be successful. But when we get into the later stages, you'll be happy to know what resources are required for all these buildings. All right, so Keep 4. We're Walls 3 and Farm 3. Those are our requirements to upgrade our keep on the next level. And it's about 6,000 resources in terms of food and wood as well. And then you have all the other requirements. You had the Walls 3 that you had to build, the Farm 3 that you had to build, and that comes to somewhere around 10,000 of those. Now we move on to Keep 5, the final one I'm going to talk about in this video in terms of buildings and so on. It's the same kind of requirements for some reason. Walls 4 and Farm 4, the exact same requirements except one level up. And the cost of the keep itself is 10,800 food, 11,000 wood, so it is increasing. And then the farm and walls in consideration as well increases that to about 16,000-ish of each of those two types. Okay, that's a lot of talk, but get ready here because there's a lot happening in these levels really, really quickly. First thing of note is there are a lot of buildings that will be unlocked right away. You have the Shrine, Warehouse, Tavern, Holy Palace, Rally Spot, Walls, Farm, Sawmill, Barracks, Archer Camp, Academy. They're all going to be unlocked or are already unlocked in the first couple levels. And my plan in terms of Miser's Guide to Evony is to have building spotlights for each of the buildings, including even the small ones, so that a player can start off and know what a building is for. So if you do want to check those out and you don't know what specific buildings are for, then definitely take a look at the building spotlight videos for this series, for this channel, and you'll get some information about each of those individual buildings and you'll just know more. It always helps to know more. All right, features that are unlocked in the first couple keep levels. You have quests at the very beginning. You saw some clicking to accept some quest rewards and so on. So as you complete quests, you get rewards, which is very important for growth. You get a thing called a growth package. So every keep level that you get, if you look in your inventory, there will be a growth package that has some rewards for you just for progressing. There's the mysterious puzzle, which is what you see right now. Mysterious puzzle was something that was added not that long ago. I mean, it's long ago now. It doesn't feel that long ago in terms of Evony. But they wanted to add another layer to Evony, and now we have the mysterious puzzle, which is kind of different than the actual game. But there are a bunch of rewards and some very significant ones that you will get, especially for growing. So I highly recommend that, even if this isn't what you were expecting, I highly recommend that you do the mysterious puzzle because really it's worth it. It's worth it for the growth to keep on top of all of this. VIP is something where you get rewarded for spending and increasing your VIP level, but you also get VIP points just from playing the game. It's just very, very slow in comparison to spending. When you build your academy, you will unlock the ability to research, which affect various aspects of the game, including the next feature that I have here is you have a one build spot to start off. But the very first research that you're probably going to do is Builder, which gives you 2 more build slots that you spend gems to unlock. And it is worthwhile to have as many build slots as possible. When you have your tavern, you'll also unlock the Wheel of Fortune, which we'll talk about when we get there, and the ability to recruit. I'm not really going to go into those so much. If you want to talk about Wheel of Fortune and recruiting, then take a look at the tavern video. You'll get tons of information on that. They're not really, there you go. See, Wheel of Fortune is just unlocked. They're not really huge and hard to understand. So take a look at the building spotlight for tavern to get an idea of how that does work. Thinking ahead now. So this is a video from Keep 1 to keep 5. So that's building 2, 3, 4, and 5. The upcoming keeps, it starts to slow down. It's still pretty quick, but I'm going to do them individually. One thing to note, though, is the requirements start changing in terms of building. For example, you'll start to require some military technology. So it's like getting your next march slot and stuff. So it's probably a good idea. You'd want to do it anyway. But to just keep that in mind that you are going to have some research requirements, and you probably want to start getting those prerequisites in terms of research done as soon as possible before you get to the roadblock and then you like, oh my God, I have to research so much, and then you're going to dump speeds into it. You don't really need to if you have some forethought. So try to do that research ahead of time and then you won't run into that problem. You're going to need to do warehouse 5 when you're doing keep 6, and you're going to need to also get your academy up to 7 to do keep 8. Lastly, just some general recommendations here. You want to get your Cleopatra from the Mysterious Puzzle as soon as possible because you get double drop rate for having your Cleopatras if you're sending your Cleopatra to boss battles, especially if you're in an alliance. You want to keep on top of your Mysterious Puzzle. Join an active alliance as soon as you possibly can. Research and prioritize that military tree, and when you're all caught up in the military tree, then you can look at advancement. And then other than that, you really want to get your active alliance, to be doing a lot of bosses, and you want to be joining. However, keep in mind that your stamina, I'm just resetting this video because I'm going a little longer than the video itself. Keep in mind that your stamina is going to eventually kind of get limited. So if you are also in a server that is, fairly old, you might have the Arch of Triumph open, and you can start to build up that stamina stockpile. So you can already see there's not a whole lot of stamina. So you do want to be trying to accumulate that stamina right at the beginning, because you're going to run out really quickly if you're just sending it every boss. If I was making my account again, what I would be doing is using my Cleopatra for that double drop on big bosses. And I wouldn't necessarily send it every single boss. I would be kind of picky because I'm low on stamina. But if I did have a stockpile of stamina because I spent a little on stamina packs or so on, then I would definitely have increased speed.